was your rank?
My rank as in the service was a private first class. I came out of service rank as a corporal, Spec 4.
Okay. And where did you serve during the war?
I served in the U.S. Army for 2 years. Um, I served in the United States Army 2 years, basic training, Fort Knox, Kentucky, AIT, Fort Eustis, Virginia, and from there I was sent to Vietnam to serve my last and final year of service.
Were you draft? No. Where were you living at that time?
During the time I was drafted,
Yes.
Marion, Indiana, 1822, South Francis.
Do you recall your first days in the service?
Yeah, yeah, I recall my first day of service. Kind of like on a annihilated, isolated place, a period of time.
Tell me about your boot camp training experiences.
And during the time of boot camp, it was different. Uh, about the most serious things I ever that ever took place in my life. It was new. It was something that didn't make sense, because I had no idea of what the future held. It was just a matter of dealing with the getting in shape, the endurance of. It was just a new experience, and so there was a lot of things that I had no knowledge of. Push your body could be pushed to a certain limit, and so after that, you get into the habit of doing the routine. You find yourself it wasn't as bad as you thought it might have been in the beginning.
Where in Vietnam did you go or were you stationed at?
And Vietnam, when I left stateside, I reported to Camp Alpha, Saigon, Vietnam, and from Saigon, Vietnam, I was sent to my permanent base, which was Quinnon, Vietnam.
Do you remember what it was like when you arrived there?
Yes, when I arrived in the country of Vietnam, when we was approaching Camp Alpha at Saigon, we was told or instructed that they was under fire, sniper fire, something of the sort, and we once the plane was landed, we was to move quickly in intervals, 40 inches apart, and to really hustle to get into safety.
What was Vietnam as far as the country like?
Vietnam, as far as the country was like, it was mostly what you say. I guess looking at it now, second or third world rated. You know what I'm saying? Saigon was quite civilized. I mean, everything was pretty much normal. You had the bars, the saloons, the stores, clothing stores, different things of that sort, you know. The smaller towns, the villages was kind of ran down pretty much, you know. Hutches and, you know, people did most of their travel by bicycles, motor scooters, and by traveling on foot, feet, however you say, walking, and a lot of things carried on their shoulders and heads, you know what I'm saying? Not many cars, not many cars. And other than that, you know, they was at war. Police action, pretty much.
What was your job or assignment?
My job, as an assignment, I was, my MOS was 61C20. My job was to dispatch, to export and import, ongoing and coming in with, from cargo to troops, ammunition, what have you, on and offshore.
Did you see combat?
I never actually fought in a combat unit. Um, like I say, my unit was in cargo and dispatching, you know what I mean? Pretty much carrying, taking troops out to sea, relocating them up and down the coastline, ammunition, what have you, whatever the cargo may have been or might have been, and taking it to and fro, back and forward, depending on what I was doing. That was my job.
Tell me about a couple of your most memorable memories or experiences.
In Vietnam.
Mhm.
The most memorable, that was times that was sniper fire, different times, you know, and you know, you would have sniper attacks and different things of this sort. Sometimes, I mean, different things, you know, but so much that happened, you know. Sometimes you would come under fire like this, and where maybe it was one or two shots, 3 or 4 rounds, automatic weapon or something of this sort, and the fire, the ammo would maybe someone just moved away, just rolled over, and the bullet went through their pillow where they were laying their head. You know what I'm saying? And it would come so close to home, that, you know, it's just a reminder to let you know just how close then you could be or could get, and you was yet spared, and then again, you know, and nothing else come of it. No one was injured. You know, it was just something to put something heavy on your mind. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, day and night, you could hear whether it was nearby or far away, you always heard the sound of artillery, shells, helicopter fire, and this sort of thing, day and night. It never ceased. It was an ongoing situation.
Were you able to stay in touch with your family, and how?
Uh, we wrote letters, and we received mail from stateside. I wasn't much of a communicator because I was focused on my business there in Vietnam. While I was there, I felt I couldn't put too much thought back in the States at that time because I was concentrating on the job and my awareness of what I had to do at that particular time. So I think I maybe wrote several letters in say in the period of a year home, and maybe received maybe a few more than I wrote. But you know, they understood why I wasn't writing as much, and they would write, but not as much as some people would write or receive mail because, I explained to my family what I had to do and what I was up against. So, you know, through prayers and understanding, I didn't too much focus on letter writing, exchange of mail or such.
Did you have plenty of supplies?
Plenty of supplies like what?
Toothpaste,
Oh yeah,
food.
oh yeah. We had the best. It was in transportation. We was in we was the number one transport, transporting the goods from the harbor to the shore, and from the shore, the beaches, back to the harbor, to the ships, So whatever the cargo, whether it was reefer material such as the PX items, from clothing, cameras, booze, food, what have you. We had the best of that, and we was that link between civilization and whatever went there because that was our job.
Along with ammunition?
Hmm?
Along with ammunition?
Along with ammunition, because see the thing of it was we had what was needed there to support and I need as firepower, military and weaponry, weapons, but our unit wasn't set up for pretty much for artillery or nothing like that. It was just, ongoing protection, you know what I'm saying? Small weapons such as rifles and such, but, a grenade maybe, but we didn't get into the heavy stuff because we was in a location where we were just transportation by waterways, you see.
Okay. I know there was pressure and stress, but what was it like?
Pressure. Well, being younger at the time, you I viewed it different from now. If it was to happen now, chances are, well, physically, I don't think the body would take it as I could endure at that time. Mentally, I'd probably be more prepared now than I was then at that time. But it was, you kind of just block out everything and you focus on what's now, what was then. And you accept it and you put everything else on hold. Although it was mind boggling. It was a lot of stress, along with a lot of things that you was finally surfing as a reality and coming to light that you know you felt that it wasn't important anymore. You know what I'm saying? So the reason wasn't worth the cost, and you was kind of like torn between the two. You couldn't focus totally because you're doing something and you had to survive for the safety and of you and your fellow comrade, but at the same time, you the cause wasn't worth it wasn't worth the job that you were performing. You know what I'm saying? Other than survival.
Was there something special you did, like pray, or something to wish you good luck or something such as that?
No, I didn't believe in luck. There's no such thing as luck. There's a man-made faith. Um, I did pray. I was a saved person. I was a God-fearing person, and I also believe I put all my trust in God. So I give him all the credit that for my blessing that I received and endured in Vietnam. From not only that time, from that time before and after, because I accepted Christ at a very early age in life, so I was fully alert and aware of where I was at in that point in time. It's just that I couldn't understand why I was caught up in this situation. But by the government, I was chosen as one of the people to be drafted, and I went and served as a USS, but not by choice. I mean, I was a draftee, and then after being drafted, that was the big switch. Finding, I mean, more and more as I stayed with the war, the more I was there, the more I came to the realization that it was hard to accept the fact that we was fighting for any valuable, uh, any main concern. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the realization of the war just didn't make sense, and until this day, I have doubts. But these things you can't fix. It's just something that happened, and we have to deal with it. Have to live with it.
How were you able to entertain yourselves during this time?
During these times, we would get movies off the ships. Some of the destroyers, some of the cargo ships, some of the, from various captains, from the ships, we would exchange movies, and we would take movies, from various ships to other ships, because we was like that link, people that's going from ship to ship, cargo to cargo, and we had communication by radio and stuff like this. So, you know, we would be dispatched out or sent out to certain ships, and we would stop by this particular ship area and deliver this and deliver that, and they would pick up this and that, and we just kept exchanging movies and stuff like that. The movie was more or less related to stuff like Superman, Batman, and Robin, and that type of thing. Nothing, wasn't into love stories and this type of thing, just more or less something pretty much kind of comical, something to keep you laughing and cheered, you know what I'm saying? Nothing to drive your conscience or mind back home to get in a state of worrying or being concerned about private matters, you know what I'm saying? Something to kind of like relax the mind. But, maybe we play that movie for 2 or 3 nights and then we find another movie, we just like it, but it was better than nothing. Then we drink our beer, at the, let me see, what they call that thing? I don't know what the name of it would be. It wouldn't be a club, but it was like a club because you could drink beer there. And that beer was 10 cents a can. And we didn't buy cigarettes there because we went to the PX, to get our cigarettes, which was cheap. I think 15, 20 cents a pack, something like that. A booze, you had a ration card, So everything was pretty reasonable. I mean, there was everything that we needed there, such as our cigarettes, our booze, candies, that sort of thing. I mean, we was really blessed in that matter. Just the foods. You know, we ate food as long as we were there in the company, i.e. within the compound. But when we were out 12 hours on the ship, on the boat, not so much the ship, but on the boat, performing, whether you had the night shift or the day shift. See, like one week you'd be on days, 12 hours. and you was in the company or at the compound 12 hours. See what I'm saying? But then on the next, at the end of the week, you switch, and then you went night shift, 12 on 6 to 6. So then that's what threw your movies, because you see, we didn't watch movies. So like if you're working nights, you wouldn't watch a movie necessarily during the daytime, you see what I'm saying? So on the week you was off at night, then you would have the movies, you see what I'm saying? Because, so the daytime, the people like during that time, they would be getting passes going into the towns and the villages. So that was our entertainment, you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
The clubs downtown and such.
Do you recall any particular humorous or unusual event that had happened?
What do you mean? I mean, how would you?
Do you have a funny moment, a memory, or an unusual memory during that time?
Yeah, we had a lot of funny moments. I mean, it was funny. Whereas you look at it now, it was 7, but I mean, we found humor and laughed at a lot of things. I mean, guys would be, at that time, it's not now, but at that time, if a guy got a dear job, and he would be clowning. Well, I said was clowning because I didn't have a wife at the time, so I couldn't get to that state of mind, or way of thinking, because I didn't know what it was like to have a wife. You know what I'm saying? I had girlfriends, but I mean, I didn't focus on. I let it get so deep. I let nothing at that time get in the way of my survival. Survival. Nothing. You know. Even when I drank my booze, whatever I did for my, you know, take away my pressures or what have you. I always had that little thing there, surviving, surviving, you know what I'm saying? Survival was always number one, you know. And some people, I mean, they were as blessed as me and maybe more blessed. I don't know. But I'm saying, and I don't know what they did as praying, what their escape was. I don't know what they relied on for their source. But there were some people, as far as me, as far as my concern, I would see their weakness. I mean, they would just go down in the towns or the villages, and they would act just as if they was home. They would just completely erase the main purpose or situation they was involved in. They would just, it was like they was at home. And then every now and then somebody would come up injured or killed or what have you, and then they would drive something home. You know what I'm saying? And you would get back on track, but you see, I never lost focus on that. I couldn't see a bullet, a knife, some kind of trap, with some, a booby trap or something like this. But I was always looking for that. But I always had this thought. I was always focused. And so if it came down to the situation where it was up to me, it wouldn't have been because of my neglect. You know what I'm saying? It was simply because it was something I couldn't help. It wouldn't have been because I made a mistake, acted foolish, pushed it to a limit or something of this sort. You know what I'm saying? And some people, I'm sure, because of this, things happen. But who am I to judge? Everybody got their own life, had their own life, and that's the way the world is today.
What did you think of the officers or fellow soldiers that you served with?
The office, the officers and and your superior, it was just as I was. Everybody felt the same. I mean, um, when you suffer the same temperature, you suffer the same horrible things throughout the days and nights, such as the monsoon, the heat, um, whether you're into the summer, the spring and summer part of it, the heat. When it came into the fall and winter, you was into the rainy season, which was monsoon, and which was just as bad on you as being in winter here. The only difference, there was no ice, but it was a continuous rain. You know what I'm saying? During the winter months, the monsoon, and when you drop from a temperature of 105 or 10 in the shade down to 55 and 60, that's cold. Go and look at today. You see what I'm saying? But if you was in an extreme temperature like this and you drop to that and you wet every day, it's raining every day, all day and all night, never stop. So some parts of you are wet for this summer, and you wet for this winter, monsoon. It's not a winter, it's monsoon. So it's constantly raining. So something on you are wet regardless. So there you have it. So everybody suffered the same consequences. It's not like captain or lieutenant is waterproof, heat proof. Though there was some areas where they had air conditioning. Where the captain, the officers, stuff like this. They was in a cool, sheltered place. You know what I'm saying? As far as performing his duties. You know what I'm saying? And the higher up. But still, when you walk out of that, in your way of traveling, your Jeep, it wasn't air conditioned. You know what I'm saying? You just mobiling yourself around. You still, you know, and nobody really had that total luxury of, comfort. I'm sure some of the generals and on up, in their little officer compound, they probably had air conditioners and that, but and in their cars, I don't know what they had, but it wasn't that many because he still couldn't ride around freely. So but outside of that, from captains down, I'm sure we all suffered the same hardship, pretty much. There was no cakewalks for anyone in Vietnam. So it wasn't a thing when anybody had this feeling, it's easy for you to say or do because you're there and I'm here.
This is where we're going to stop. Tape 1, side 1, and we will continue on tape 1, side 2. We are back, and we are going to continue on tape 1, side 2. Do you recall the day your service ended?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the happiest day of my life. One of the happiest days of my life. Yep. I can't describe this day. And I couldn't wait for the day, and then when the day finally came, it was like I was overrejoiced, and it was like a dream that couldn't come true. I had to pinch myself, you know what I'm saying? But then, after all of that, leaving, well, in the process of leaving, process away from my compound, now I'm beginning to think, what if I get shot before I get to the airport? See? Thoughts that I never had before. That during the time I'm here, I'm walking around in this area going to and from town to villages with the same risk. But now I'm thinking, what if I get shot, I kill a bomb before I get to the local airport? Now, getting to the airport, after I get out of that word, I got to leave this airport from Quinlan, Vietnam, and fly to Cameron, Vietnam. On a cargo plane. I'm not on a jet or anything. I'm on here with jeeps or trucks or tanks or whatever. I'm in a cargo plane, right? And so you got your cargo here in the middle of the plane, and the troops are lined up in like these little some kind of rack chairs, benches, running down the side of the cargo. This type of thing, like lined up. Anyways, not a very good feeling, but transportation. So we flies into Cameron Bay, processing out. And I gets here, and for a fountain pot, I, a fountain drink, 'cause it was broiling. It was just open, hot sand with the sun bearing down on top of your head, and we stood there for hours in line. Why, I don't know. I don't even know why we couldn't get aboard the plane, 'cause the plane air conditioned and all that. But we standing out here, and I think back, I think they felt like only the strong or the knowledgeable one would survive. So this guy came back. They apparently they had left, because you're standing, you ain't watching people. Some people going to the bathroom, whatever. So these guys came back with this drink in their hand. Now, mind you, the drink wasn't all that cold, but it didn't have to be that cold to have a sweat to it. You know what I mean? Like how hot it was. And it was so refreshing as far as the eyes could see. I'm saying, wow. And I said, where do you get that? And he was telling me, well, down at the canteen, which was like the little compounded processing PX. And I said, man, and he's sitting there sipping, and the other guys, And the guy I was with, we standing there, so when you're in the military, everybody's better, to a point. You don't know them, but you see your name tag and you just all military, you know what I'm saying? And so he and I told this guy, says, if you keep our bag, I like it, duffel bag and this little zip bag, we bring you one back. Because the line hadn't moved for an hour and a half or so. So I was sure I had time to go and come back. It wasn't that far. We walked down to this canteen or PX, whatever this deal was, and all the GIs, some of the station permanent parties were there, different people. And I'm boasting, I'm running my mouth. I'm short. When I get to the stateside, I'm going to do this and that. So I overstayed my time. So when I comes back, there was not a single person in line. Everybody had boarded this plane. And, they took the steps away. And that was his and my duffel bag, stuff was there. And I couldn't figure out what was going on, so I started inquiring. They said, well, they had 4 hardship people, people with emergency leave, like they might fly them out the field, they might be in combat or artillery or whatever, and they lost a mom or somebody's emergency sick back stateside. So what they do, they contact these people, put them on a plane, give them, they just take the last, instead of just saying, picking someone making a bad scene, they'd always, whoever was if they said they had 6 of these people at that particular time, ready to go home, come back stateside because they got a mother's sick or ill, or maybe they passed a funeral or something. They got 6 people, the last 6 people on this flight, they cut them. See what I'm saying? But see, by me and this other guy and myself not being there, it was easy. You see what I'm saying? You weren't there. First come, first serve. So now, and I'm telling you, that was the most to this day. That hurt. Nothing on this earth ever hurt me that day. I waited all this time. And on this day, this moment, not the world, not anybody, me, for a soft drink. I mean, when you see a fountain pop a drink, and I don't drink soft drinks to this day. No. Yeah, I mean, it turns my stomach to even see them. When I see them, they be in the sweat on them. Every time I see one in a dairy or whatever, wherever they at, and I'm glad they fading away. They getting to be history. They're a thing of the past. They used to be. You know what I'm saying? You see the orange grapes. And but it literally turns my stomach. I mean, it ruins my spirit to see a fountain pop. You know what I'm saying? A fountain soda. I don't like that because it takes me back. And for that, that was the worst moment of my life. And so I felt like crying, but I didn't. But it was something I couldn't do nothing about. I couldn't hold it against anybody. It was a thing on my doing. This was all because of my. See, for one time, I lost focus. And that's why I can relate to all the other doings of other GIs or soldiers because everybody have a weak point. That was mine. And it was at the very last end, which wasn't all that bad, but it meant as much because I really wanted to get out of Vietnam. And now I'm thinking, here's my chance, and I blew it. So, the next day, by not going that day, the next day, I had to work. Like details around the thing. And then after that, the next day, I had a chance to fly again. But you can bet I was on time, and I made up my mind I was not getting out of this line no matter what. So we got a chance to leave, and again I'm focusing again, and this feels back. Feels back. I'm back to the point. What if? What if this plane gets shot down before I reach the clouds? Now, I mean, I'm really looking from Earth to the clouds because I feel if I can get to the clouds, the chances, slim chance of them shooting it down. Now that's why my mind's up now. But once the plane get above the clouds, now I'm wondering if the plane gonna survive. Will it just normally crash? You know what I'm saying? But the more fear into them shooting it than it falling. So I figure I get to the clouds, I'm pretty well safe. So then we goes on and we land in Okinawa, and then from there we came on into the States. And then we got to the United States there at Tacoma, Washington, and the plane almost had another accident. Something occurred on the runway, and we had to thrust our way back up. We had to take the plane back up. And, even I'm saying, man, I made it back to the States and I'm about to die anyways. So we land, and so when we land and make touchdown, we get off the plane. I kiss the asphalt stuff there, pavement, okay? And thank God again. And so the next day, ETS, and I was on the plane to Oakland, California. From there, I've been a civilian ever since. You know what I'm saying? And it was beautiful, but looking back at it now, from time to time, I'm glad it happened. It was an experience. A lot of it, I got a better chance to appreciate it since I've been out by reasoning and thinking it through and thinking it over. Because see, when you live in something, actually experiencing it, you don't have time to disapprove or approve. You see what I'm saying? Because everything you do is totally new, stretchful, and especially when you got blood, sweat, and tears on the line, you don't have time to figure out the good, the bad, or the ugly. You see what I'm saying? So, for me to give you a clear, how would you say, explanation, say, if you had asked me these questions during the time, you would have got a whole different set of answers. But see, now I can give you more of a clear statement of answers far as being approved or disapproved. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of it I can understand it. You know, I can understand. Go back to the basic training and really relate to why the sergeant and captains and things, the officers was bearing down on me because see, I needed all of that to survive in such a case of Vietnam. You see. If I hadn't had the training, I wouldn't have been able to withstand or endure the hardship there. See, but by having the training, I was able to endure. But um, it made me capable of taking on the challenge. You see, whereas if I didn't have the training, I wouldn't have been able to survive. Looking back at it now, as a man, as a father, a parent, citizen, it tells me that it gives me pride and dignity. I get privileges that I wouldn't have felt I required or deserved had I not been a veteran. See what I'm saying? So therefore, I have a right. I feel I have achieved a right. I've paid the price, the debt of everything that the United States has to offer. See, mentally, the way I feel about it, nobody have the right to take anything from me because I paid the price, no matter what it was for the right reason or the wrong reason. I sealed it with everything I had to offer. Whether the country felt that it was worthy, or whether it was hocus, you know, I'm saying it was just as real if I'd have been fighting for, if you had been there in person and I was trying to gain your life back. You see what I'm saying? So I couldn't have did it no more gallant. So what I'm saying is I know that I paid the cost for my well-being here as a United States citizen. So therefore, I am glad that I served as a U.S. citizen. No one can take nothing, no rights, nothing from me. So when a person come and talk down to me and talk up to me, they can't even begin to penetrate my thoughts or my feelings of what this country owes me. You see, I came in this country. Say, when you're born into this country or whatever, you see what I'm saying? You come into this country or into the world. When you come into this world, whatever part of the world or country you're in, that's you. See what I'm saying? So there, you have to earn your place in life. And I'm not saying the war have to be that goal, you know. Your place in life could be a good attorney, it could be a good teacher, it could be a good athlete. You know what I'm saying? It could be a good scientist, whatever. But everybody has to make that mark somewhere. But some come with a bigger, a greater price. And I'm not the one to judge who played the bigger role or what have you. Only thing I know is I put everything I had on the table. And that was my life. And that was the last stake. And I'm saying it's worth anything that anybody in America or any other country can do. And I'm satisfied that I'm well deserving and I well belong here in America. And I'm not going to let nothing, from the highest to the lowest, tell me no different. Because I seal that in my mind and in my heart. And so all this other mumbo jumbo people talking, I could care less. I could care less. So now that's how I feel about serving in the war of Vietnam.
How had the war changed your perspective on life?
The war, the war, it makes me, I focus more. Before the war, and you see, you're talking in a whole different lifestyle. See, because from 23 to 58 is two whole different worlds. You see what I'm saying? If you'd asked me this again when I was that age, I would have told you probably some crazy, stupid answers. You know, I'm trying something that wouldn't have meant nothing but just on a personal issue. You know what I'm saying? But right now, um, it takes more than just fighting for whatever the reason or cause might be. It takes different things to make the world click. You know what I'm saying? Uh, the reason to fight a war, police action, whatever you classify the war as, not going to always be the same identical thing. Different reason. Nobody get into a fist fight for the same reason or the same principle. See what I'm saying? It depends on what's at stake for the moment, at the moment, a time. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with the issue. So I guess the same goes with the war. Whereas we'd say, you know, it wasn't worth it. But see, it was worth it for the time being. It was necessary for the time being. You see, because we had to get over that hurdle to get to where we're at now. And just like we into the Iraq thing and it's over, but you know, that's another stepping stone. It makes sense to me, but to some maybe it did. You see. But I do know this. Things happen. Nobody views or sees or understands anything all in the same view at the same time. And sometimes it's for the best, sometimes for the worst. But that's what makes the world we live in. And nobody gonna come out of it satisfied at all time. And later on, you know, you see, well, maybe that was best. I didn't see it then, but now I think it benefit. You see, so I'm sure we didn't benefit from Vietnam, but like I say, to some it did. If it's no more than the people in high office, I don't. We don't. I don't know the answers of the reason, but I'm sure somebody benefited. If there's no more than the sale of arms and weapons, to get rid of arms and weapons, not to create jobs for the economy. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I can't rightfully say as an individual or person to say that. But you know, what was the main cause of the issue? You know, but I am saying somebody benefit. You know, so and that's the way it goes. You know, and I was a part of that era. You know, but no matter what came of it, now that I'm here, and you see, because man can place you there, but man have no control over your well-being. See, God is in control of everything, and that's why I put my trust in. And so, therefore, I survived that, and until the next stage in life, and I go on until my life is up. And when that is, I'm gonna do like everyone else. You know, I'm gonna depart from this earth. I mean, as a living individual, you know, I'm gonna pass on into another stage. So, but man won't be able to do that to you as long as you put your faith and trust in God. You know, and so this is what you got to believe. It's what's on your agenda, what's on your plate, and that's the one thing. You know, man can put you through a lot, and you can survive a lot because I'm living proof. I went through all of that in Vietnam and never got a torn fingernail. Never got a hang-up, to my recollection. I mean, I don't recall having an injured finger, you know. and I've seen quite a lot of stuff going on. I wasn't totally involved, but I was around a lot of stuff, a lot of incidents, seen a lot of wounded people and so and what have you. But thank God it wasn't me. I'm not being grateful and thankful that it was them. It saddened my heart to see it, but that's just the way it was. But by seeing this and being involved and around this, it let me know that my prayer was well worth the while. You know what I'm saying? And putting my trust in God. And I also tried to pass this on to other people. But some people just are not going to accept that. Some people went over there to hurt other people. Some people get a kick out of hurting other people. But I learned this, and I will pass this on to anybody. When you asking God to protect you in your life, it's a sad individual to sit up and say, bless me while I destroy someone else's. You see, that's a foolish individual. Because every mother and every father would like for their kid to come home alive, whether he's 18 or whether he's 60, depending on how old you are in service. But nobody want their child or their daughter, son or daughter, to be killed or hurt or injured. So it's a selfish person to pray to come home alive, but you want to be a hero with 25 or 40 people notched on your gun. Because if we're all praying, now God would be selfish to answer your prayer, not hear these other 18 people, would he? So you see, a Christian view life different from just a individual. See, and you have to ask yourself these questions. Maybe these people, if they had another outlook on life or a different attitude, or put their trust in God, they might would be here today. But again, that wasn't on their plate. But still, I don't have the answer. The only thing I have really is my faith in God, and this was my stronghold. This is what I had to hold on to. And I didn't just pray for the American soldiers. I prayed for Vietnam. I prayed for the enemy as well as my own country. So, but I had a job to do. And whatever came before me, I was prepared spiritually to do that. But God fixes that. I didn't ever have to just look down the muzzle of my weapon and shoot and actually see a man fall from that. Now, I've shot my weapon. But to actually see a man fall as far as a sighted target, I've never done that. There was casualties and stuff like people, after the firing and stuff like this. And nobody knows. But there was never. To actually see a man fall from the muzzle of my weapon, I never seen it. Which is a blessing. And I never gotten a scratch on it.
Well, I want to thank you for your interview. And your information, your story is very welcome, and we're grateful to have it to put it into the Library of Congress.
I'm more than happy to give it. It's been a pleasure giving it to you, especially to my daughter. Hopefully it'll strengthen you and encourage you throughout your life and many others to come.
And that will be the end of tape 1, side 2.